Hi, I'm Academic developer here at RackForms, and I'm really excited today to be talking about build 826, aka version 5.5 of RackForms. Before I talk about the features and fixes and all that good stuff, I did want to give a huge thank you to all the users out there. I have the best community on the planet. I've said it once, I'll say it again. The feature suggestions that you guys give me are simply fantastic. They're what motivate me every day to keep working on RackForms, and this update, perhaps more than most, is an example of that. Most of the stuff that's in this release have been feature suggestions by you guys, and I'm a little bit embarrassed because there's so many in here that I didn't think of, but I do thank you so much for providing this awesome feedback and making RackForms a better product. So with that then, I did want to cover the features and fixes here for version 5.5. So first off, a general overview of the fixes here. We have 3 of them. The first has to do with image uploads and thumbnails. So we had a bug in the previous versions where if you uploaded a thumbnail that was smaller than the thumbnail size, it would actually kind of scale the image up. This has been fixed, though if you do have a form that uses image uploads with thumbnails, I probably would update your version of RackForms just so you don't run into that in any of your form code. Second, then we have code blocks, elements check for duplicates. This is kind of like an annoying error. It was rare, but some fields, if they had more than one form field on the page, the editor would complain that you had a duplicate form, even though it was okay to have duplicate versions of that. It was annoying. It's been fixed. Finally, then, repeater buckets are not invisible when originating from a hidden source. This one's kind of specific, but basically what it means here is if I have a form that has a bucket repeater that's hidden at page load, so in other words, field initially visible is unchecked, it wasn't quite working right when I loaded the form, right? Like the form fields weren't showing and hiding themselves properly. Again, this has been fixed, though I will say it's actually not perfect yet. There's still a little bit more work that we need to do. It works better than it used to, though just for reference, we're going to improve upon this in the next couple of versions. That said, for now, just to be safe, I usually would not suggest actually using invisible bucket repeaters. I'd simply make them always visible if you can. Though we're a little bit closer now to getting this to working the way we want it to. Second, then we had an update and a change. The first update is PHP mailer has been updated. This is kind of a technical thing, but what it basically means is there will be some new features added to email, particularly with regard to security in the next couple of versions. So definitely excited about that. And then we also had a change here. This is mainly for accessibility. Label fields now use, labels as opposed to divs. So in other words, the label field for text right here is now an HTML label element. This makes screen readers and other accessibility software work much better with RackForms. And again, thank you. You know who you are out there, to the user who suggested this. Finally then, onto the features, or excuse me, almost finally here. We have 3 features added. The first is field set property for buckets. So I can now have a bucket and I can turn it into an HTML field set. And that simply means that we get that nice little border around with the title. We have form blocks have been renamed to field presets, and we've actually added a field presets to it. If you've never used form blocks, and again, now known as field presets before, I definitely recommend looking into them. Essentially what it means is if I have a group of elements I want to add to my form quickly and easily, I use field presets. So for example, if I wanted to add a US address to this form, I'd simply select US address, and now that gets added to my form. Also nice is that we can actually save field presets at any time as well. So for example, I saved a field preset before called bucket1, which is simply this guy right here, and I can now add this to my form at any time. What's nice about these things is they retain all the state, the code, JavaScript, PHP, etc., database calls that the original versions do, so it makes it really easy to quickly and easily add elements to our form. And of course, look for this list right here for our presets to be expanded greatly over the coming versions. And then finally, the last feature here is Ajax items now load values on page load. It's kind of a technical thing again, but it's going to make your user's experience with Ajax in your forms a lot nicer. Essentially, if they refresh the page, and they had some kind of AJAX logic already set, we now reload all that AJAX logic so the page looks the same as the last time they were on the page. Again, it's a technical thing, but the end result is your users are going to have a better time filling out your forms with AJAX functionality. Finally, then, our two major features, Google Docs Sheets now process data grid rows as individual rows. What this basically means is if I have a form like this guy right here that has a data grid, when I save this to Google Docs, it saves as this right now. So here's my 3 text fields, but my data grid now actually saves in spreadsheet grid format, same as it appears on the form. So it's a nice little shortcut there, and again, thanks to the user who suggested that. Finally, major feature, dynamic survey question generation. So this one's a little bit more specific right here. I don't expect most users to use this, though it is nice if you are running a lot of surveys. Essentially what we have is if I add a survey to my form, I can now write a block of SQL and click a button to generate questions off of that survey SQL. Again, this is a pretty specific thing. Most of the time, you're simply going to be copying and pasting in questions and responses or writing them by hand. Though if you have a database set up where you have a list of questions, this is going to be a huge time saver for you. So that is our look at Build 826 again. And as always, if you have any questions about this or anything else RackForms related, please let us know. Our phone number is at the top of the website, and we can always be reached at info@rackforms.com.